For most of the world, this is the friendly island. Green fields, warm pubs, a place that never quite frightened anyone. That reputation is a costume, and it has only been worn for about 100 years. Farmers cutting turf out of the ground have twice pulled up a 2,000-year-old man, strangled, stabbed, and cut in half, because his people believed a failed king had to be sacrificed to the bog. In 1999, a motorway crew lost a decade and 90 million euros. Not to an engineering problem, because nobody would touch one hawthorn tree. In 823 AD, Viking raiders climbed a vertical rock in the Atlantic and dragged away a monk who had spent his life trying to disappear from the world. And in 2016, when Europe tried to hand this country 13 billion euros, the government's answer was, "We don't want it." This is not the Ireland you were shown. This is the island that buries its kings, protects its ferries, and turns down free billions, and somehow still gets called friendly. Every week, I go inside a country the world thought it already understood and find what was actually there. This 4K documentary is One Hidden World. Subscribe, and I will take you into the next one. This cinematic documentary starts in the one place Ireland's postcards never point a camera: the bog. In 2003, peat cutters found a body preserved so well by the acidic ground that his fingerprints were still readable. Radiocarbon dating put his death at over 2,000 years old. He stood 6'6", had the soft hands of a nobleman, and had eaten meat for months. A rich man's diet in the Iron Age. Then someone bound his arms, stabbed him repeatedly, and cut him in half. Archaeologists believe he was a king, sacrificed at the exact boundary line where kings were crowned. When the harvest failed in ancient Ireland, sometimes the king paid with his life, buried in ground that preserved him perfectly, to be found again 2,000 years later. Tell me in the comments, before this video, had you heard of Ireland's bog bodies? The dead were not the only thing this island learned to protect. The living still protect what they cannot see. In County Clare in 1999, engineers were building a new stretch of the M18 motorway when the road ran straight into a single, ordinary-looking hawthorn bush. A local storyteller warned that the bush marked a ferry path, a meeting point for supernatural forces, and that destroying it would bring death to drivers on the new road. The council did not argue. They rerouted the road, fenced the tree by law, and the motorway opened nearly a decade behind schedule. The bush still stands there today, wedged between two lanes of traffic doing 100 kilometers an hour. Across the Irish countryside, there are thousands of ring forts just like it. Farmers still plow around them. Builders still ask locals which fields have something about them. Nobody quite believes it anymore. Almost nobody is willing to test it. Some places on this island were left alone out of fear. Others were chosen, deliberately, for the exact opposite reason. "12 kilometers off the Kerry coast, a jagged rock rises straight out of the Atlantic. 600 steps of hand-cut stone, climbing to the sky. In the 6th century, a group of monks rowed out to this rock in animal skin boats and decided to stay. They built stone huts with no mortar and no nails, stacked so precisely they still shed rainwater 1,400 years later. Their diet was seabirds and rainwater. Their neighbors were storms strong enough to throw waves 20 meters into the air. In 823 AD, it was not the weather that found them. Viking raiders landed on the rock anyway and dragged the island's own abbot away as a prisoner on a pinnacle of stone that was supposed to be the one place on Earth nobody could reach. If that image stayed with you the way it stayed with me, a like tells the algorithm this story deserves to travel further than the postcard version of this island ever did. Tell me, where are you watching this from? Because the next part of this story involves a decision your own government has probably never made. Because the strangest thing this island ever protected wasn't a grave or a tree or a rock. It was 13 billion euros. In 2016, the European Union ruled that Apple owed Ireland 13 billion euros in unpaid taxes, the largest corporate tax fine in history. Most countries would celebrate that. Ireland's government fought it in court for years to avoid taking the money. The reason was simple. Ireland's modern economy runs on convincing companies like Apple, Google, and Meta to base themselves here on some of the lowest corporate tax rates in Europe. A Nobel Prize-winning economist coined a name for the strange, inflated numbers this produces: leprechaun economics. It took until 2024 and a final court ruling before Ireland was forced to accept money it never wanted, while its own people faced one of the worst housing crises in Europe. This is not the Ireland of the postcard, and it was never really the Ireland of the pub either. This is an island that remembers where its kings were sacrificed, that reroutes its roads around what it cannot see, that sent men to the edge of the world and lost one to Viking raiders anyway. That was handed 13 billion euros and said no. The world gave you shamrocks and rain. What was actually here the whole time was a country that has never stopped weighing what it owes to its land, its dead, and itself. Picture that hawthorn bush on the M18 tonight, headlights sweeping past it, exactly where an engineer's report said the motorway should have gone straight through. It is still standing there. Nobody has ever moved it. There is another island waiting, another place the world thinks it already understands. Subscribe, and next week I will show you what is actually there.